Start. We are live. Hello, all. Once again, welcome to online lecture series phase 3. This is Dr. Himanshu Srivastav, coordinator of the series. We are here once again with another speaker. Let me introduce him. He is Dr. Maulik Vyas, sir. He is an assistant professor in GEC Bhuj. Sir, we welcome you on behalf of Principal GEC Bhavnagar, on behalf of the students as well as the whole fraternity. I welcome you for this enlightening session. We had a talk with sir that on which topic would you like to come and take an online session, and we all agreed on a very nice topic called grammar of public speaking. It's a very interesting topic. Public speaking is in our syllabus of the subject called professional communication and ethics. In that we have public speaking. So what basics you need for public speaking, that is what this 1 hour is going to be of. So sir, without wasting much of your time, I welcome you and I ask you to please enlighten our students, as well as we are trying to create a hub for this third semester so that this would be available on our YouTube channel and it would be available to all the students across the state of GTU.
Great.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Srivastav ji. Namaskar, everyone. Today's topic is grammar of public speaking. Why did we have this title for public speaking? Well, I wanted you to have some understanding and idea about the history of study that has been there in the rhetorics, in the domain of personality development, even in political science for that matter. So people have studied this topic called public speaking for centuries, I would say. And I wanted to capture a glimpse in history and present to you some basic essentials, components, and theorization that have gone into this particular topic. So I would, in a way, branch off from your present syllabus. Rather, I would like to give you a backdrop that actually sustains this entire discourse independently and historically. Of course, you would study the nitty-gritty of this subject in your actual classes and lab. That is always great to have it from your faculty. So I thought, let me have some marginalized aspects which are otherwise not taken into consideration when we speak of public speaking vis-a-vis oratory as such. All right, so let us get moving. The first thing that I'm to differentiate here between public speaking and oratory, that we need to understand this as a structured and deliberate talk intended to inform, influence, defend, or entertain. So public speaking is the first step in the long journey of oratory. So dear friends, as they say, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, if oratory is the journey of 1,000 miles, learning public speaking, I would say, is probably the first step. So what is the basic idea? The basic idea is that public speaking, loosely speaking, is an event or a situation in which you engage with people other than you, your friends, your colleagues, for that matter, two, three people you talk to, and it becomes an instance of public speaking. But oratory is a different ball game. It is public speaking taken to the height and excellence of human intelligence. And as they say that probably in 50 to 100 years span, probably there is perchance one or two orators that happen to humanity. So in that regard, Roman statesman Cicero made quite an impressive statement. So he goes out there to define an orator, says that in an orator, what do you find? He says the acuteness of the logician, wisdom of philosophers, language almost of poetry, memory of lawyers, the voice of tragedians, the gestures almost of the best actors. This is all required. Well, Nothing, therefore, is more rarely found among mankind than a consummate orator. So you see, he is setting up truly high benchmarks for somebody who aspires to be an orator. There have been an example, great example of oratory in the ancient Greece, like Diogenes. You have Junior uh, Martin Luther King from the 19th century USA. Here again in India, you have phenomenal uh, speakers. Swami Vivekananda, for that matter, was one when he delivered his speech to the Chicago conference. And in present times, you see Prime Minister Modi, when he addresses thousands of people out there, he truly comes up with a ring of master in oratory. So these are the qualities that Cicero prescribed for an orator to be good at. Well, to go to the basics of public speaking, the basic idea is that when you are in public zone, of course, proximally you are set apart from your audience. So you are at your farthest removed from this audience. Greater the distance, well, what happens is that your audience observes you minutely. There is a kind of detachment between speaker and the audience, and they are critical of your tiny gestures, your flutter of eyelids, your words, pronunciation, your gesticulation. So you are under close scrutiny. Any instance of comfort or discomfort is as if magnified to them, because there is huge distance between you and the audience. So distance plays a major role in public speaking, and the attention of the audience needs to be grabbed, needs to be held right from the beginning, so that you walk along with your audience. Now there are tricks of the trade, different people would have it differently. But yes, as a public speaker, you need to figure out how will you open your opening statement, your first topic statement. And one more observation about public speaking is that back channel behavior is quick. So suppose if your audience is into you, into your talk, you immediately get the feedback that yes, they are rolling with your talk. And if you are losing your audience somehow, you will also quickly notice that now you need to change some of the ideas, tone, structure, method, because audience is falling apart. So the back channel behavior, that is feedback, is quick. All right, I would go to straight to the types of oration here. Classically speaking, technically speaking, we have different types of events and instances where we happen to give public speech. For example, simply let us say speech, a salutary address, which is an opening statement speech, valedictory speech, it's a farewell oration. So at the end of a seminar, conference, or an event, or say farewell function, you might have somebody offering valedictory speech. So this is valedictory means good speech, diction, dicta, and bene, good. So good speech, valedictory speech. Declamation, it's a vehement oratory where you are denouncing an idea, ideology, or person. That is with some fierce criticism that you do. It is called declamation. Stump speech, you often get to see political leaders making public speech, public address. They are called, these instances are called stump speech. Your examples of forensic or legal oratory, you see, in ancient Greece, there was a text that Plato wrote called Socrates' Apology. Now, what is that example? That in the Greece parliament, Socrates presents his case, defending himself against the charges made against him. Well, that example is the example of forensic or legal oratory, when you defend one person, case, or party to that matter. So that is forensic. Elocution speech you are familiar with, where a lot of stress is on your memory part. how much you have internalized your talk and content. There is of course keynote speech. Now this is something इसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में बीज वक्तव्य. So keynote speech is when you give a theme lecture determining or orienting the entire course of a forthcoming seminar or conference. So somebody of high reputation and scholarship is invited to make a keynote address. Word of thanks. At the end of the event, you offer word of thanks. Then there is epidactic oratory, that is for eulogizing or condemning somebody. So it is in honor of a speech which is in honor of somebody. There is nomination speech, and there is there is religious sermon, religious oratory. Okay, so these are examples of public speech, each with different technique, method, and purpose. All right. We go ahead into this area and we find that a lot of people in their early stage come across some barriers, some problems, which could be either stage fear, psychological inhibition, such as the fear of being looked at, being heckled, you feel unconfident, or simply glossophobia. So glossophobia is the word for fear of speech. Glossa means tongue and phobia is irrational fear. It could be any of this or all of this, but somebody who suffers any of this would require some conscious effort and positive approach to get out of it. Well, there are some 5 elements which can help us take care of our inhibitions that we saw in previous slide. So if we learn the distinct articulation, correct pronunciation, including loan words. So here, distinct articulation, by articulation, I mean that the way we pronounce the individual sounds, which is not having slopping, slurping, omitting sounds, contracting sounds, or making a weak pronunciation of prepositions. This will fall into articulation. How clear you are about your speech mechanism. Whereas pronunciation is about the way you pronounce a word in a particular accent, be it, say, Cockney accent of London, RP, Liverpool accent. England has more than 20 accents, by the way. American accent. Again, in India, we have different regional accents. So whichever accent that you choose, you are true to that, including loan words. Loan words are the foreign words often used in our speech. At least, so if we know what exactly the word sounds in the native original language, we are comfortable and confident. Then we have timely accentuation and intonation, emotional expressiveness, and that our speech is synced with gestures and movement. So when we harmonize these 5 elements, we sound natural on stage, we sound natural to the audience, and we are able to make our case effectively. All right. Amassing the strength is an added reinforcement to the previous 5 elements. So in the 20th century, British universities like Oxford, Cambridge, they used to offer this course for rhetorics. And they would have there a subject of trivium, which included particularly training in grammar, logic, and rhetoric. So they will sharpen your skills with regard to the formation and structure of sentences, the logical structure of arguments, and then there are n number of rhetorical devices. Well, so once you are trained into this, you become a good statesman, you become a good political speaker or a media person, stage artist, so people into histrionics. Histrionics means dramaturgy and acting. So they are to an extent trained into rhetorics. Well, some basic understanding of grammar, logic, and rhetoric will be an shot in the arm and added boost to your previously five elements that we discussed. So how do we prepare? Well, we should be clear with our topic, that we have definition of our topic very clear in our mind, and the intention of our topic. As it says in Sanskrit, that prayojanam anudishya mandopina pravartate. Without prayojan, without reason, even a manda buddhi, even a dullard doesn't operate. So we must have the clarity of our topic and the intention, the purpose, why we are doing it clear with us. Then we employ our creative and critical thinking about the topic, referring to scholars, interviews, standard books, and reports, so that we have good data collection. At least we have the big data with us, which we can later put to analysis, which we can put to sorting and arrangement. You can use authentic and classified web contents. Please mark that today, in the age of spree of information and the overwhelming online resources, it is important that sources we go to are authentic and classified. And mostly such sources happen to be behind paywall. But nonetheless, we should ensure that our content is error-free. And we engage in discussions so that we generate ideas and we are clear about our topic. This goes into homework. Layout of speech. Layout of speech, generally speaking, we have introduction, main content, and conclusion. I will take up only one or two aspects from this, because your subject faculty would be taking this up in due course of time, so that we spare some more time to the information otherwise marginalized. But over here in introduction, I would rather underscore for you to note that thesis point should be clearly laid down. Thesis means topic statement. So topic statement shows the motive and the purpose of your proposition. Your audience becomes clear in expecting what is next to come. So once you are clear with your thesis point, see to it that your launching of it is catchy, be it with humor, anecdotes, riddles, quotations, whatever suits you. And then give a simple global overview of your content, so that they know what they are going to expect in next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. When it comes to main body, see, your critical and creative thinking is all at your liberty. I mean, however way you want to. But generally speaking, either you chronologically set your data, you categorize it, you classify it, or you set your data in terms of causal relations. That is up to you how you want to organize your data. But the idea is that over here in main body, there should be a flow of progress, as if the audience feels that they are journeying with you in your thought, that they are moving from point A to point B and C and onwards. So that is chiefly about how cohesively and logically we organize our content. And to conclude, we must say that we restate and recapitulate all our major points, so that the audience brings home the most important point that you wanted them to remember. So end on a remarkable note of words, lines, and let the audience part with a clear frame of mind about this is very important. See, we don't do public speech or presentation for the sake of it. We don't do public speech to dazzle the audience, to tell them, see how great a speaker I am. No, it is about them. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is what they remember of it. So try to make a point that your audience, after 1 hour when they leave, they are different from what they were 1 hour before your speech, and that there is some clarity of idea or proposition. If you succeed and manage to do any of this, even to some uh, extent, I would say that is quite a win you can take along. Now, some factors influencing public speaking, such as topic of the presentation, uh, attitude of the audience, quality of the material you are presenting, your body language, individual style of delivery, personal appearance and public appeal, pitch variations, inflection in voice. See, all of these will require some careful once over. By once over, I mean careful looking again into the content you are presenting, carefully looking into your content again and again, couple of times in a mode of dry run, as if it's a rehearsal. So choose your topic, word your topic mindfully, thoughtfully. Find out whether the audience is eligible for you. I mean, to say whether it is competent enough for you to sail smooth with some technical information, or if the audience is novice, you have to boil it down to the basics. Or if the audience is too much learned, you just can't bluff, you just can't over the board throw all your know-how. You have to rein your horses and be simple and exact in your information. So know about your audience in a way that you can tune your presentation, content and presentation to suit your audience. Body language, individual style of delivery, it is personal, I would say. I won't say that you emulate, you copy somebody because he is good. Uh, Somebody, I forgot the person's name, evades me, probably Ben Johnson, who said, know the best, read the best, but follow your own style. Well, so if somebody is a good speaker, that's great, fantastic. Learn from him or her that appeals to you, but suit yourself. Whatever comes naturally to you. If you are not naturally, innately a funny person, jokes and humor won't be natural to you. So leave it. You don't have to be unnaturally interesting and funny. And if you are logical and serious, no problem with that. With the right body language, gestures, eye contact, even seriousness meets with interest. So that's fine. And pitch variations is something that we practice with. People like film actors, they are actually trained in their pitch variations and inflections in voice. So being loud is one quality, and then even with the low pitch you can project your voice. When you fill your lungs with air, even your voice is low but it reaches far. There are some techniques about this. Even online today, these days, you can find tutorials about your vocal training. So the point number 6 pertains to that. All right. Now there are some frameworks, and quickly in next 15 minutes we'll look at certain frameworks from history. So the Greek philosopher Aristotle talks about persuasive speech in regard of three major components for a speaker or for a successful speech to have. You should have a genuine, authentic character as a speaker that speaks of ethos. You should approach the emotive and the better feelings, emotive side of the audience, better feelings of the audience. Along with that, your presentation should also have the emotional quotient, that you are able to touch the emotive side of the message. And at the end, logos, which is message, that you focus also on construction of your message. So primarily, Aristotle over here tries to give a linear model communication idea where a message flows from point A to B. and that is non-linear. Right. I'm sure you know about linear and non-linear models of communication by now. So this is one example of that. And over here, Aristotle's thrust is on ethos. That as a speaker, you are reliable. Well, in Greek characters, you see characters don't differ, and that influenced 19th century Hollywood movies too. You look at their dialogue delivery. There is a season on Netflix called Suits. Look at their dialogue delivery. Steady, fast. They don't have fillers. They don't have pauses when they say dialogue, as if they speak and it simply rolls out. I mean, there is no question of afterthought. No, like I wanted to say this or the scratch head. No, this is not a sign of clarity of head, and that clarity of head with a person who is of authenticity and character. So, ethos is very important for Aristotle. When we come to Cicero, he presented Roman statesmen 5 canons of rhetoric. So, invention of the topic, arrangement of your arguments, the style eloquentio that you are going to have, which is your individual one. Memoria is the internalized content. You know, a lot of times our students, even in school days, you know, we go on stage prepared with a topic. We go on stage, there is kind of stage fright, and halfway house, you know, we forget some points, and there is blank in our mind. So memory fails us in the nick of time. It happens when we are under stress. So memory plays a crucial part in public speech and delivery, which is individual. But Cicero did not give much importance to memory. For him, the other aspects are more important. Now, key to memory is see, you don't remember something overnight. You remember things which are near to your heart. You remember your answers, your subject, your content when you have invested yourself, time, energy over sustained period of time. Then it has become part of your blood and bone. You know, it is part of you. Then it comes naturally and automatically, as if it's kind of self-reflex, body reflex. So memory is something that we need to think of not as a quick fix, but an internalized habit continued over a period of time. This is one example from Alan Monroe. So go with the roller coaster. He gives a sequence of motivated speech or motivated sequence. I would say, to certain extent, some of our great political leaders, they structure and plan their political speech like this. So first is, you know, roll with the roller coaster, grab attention, get the attention of your audience, then define what they need, what is their utmost need. Then you satisfy the need, means you satisfy the problem, you address the problem. Then you give a picture of the solution, that if we do this, then we will complete our goal, we will reach our solution. And at the end, you close your talk with call to action. Like you go for a sankalp, you go for a mantra, you go for an oath, that now onwards we pledge this, we pledge that. You know, so that is call to action, because at the end of public speech, you want your audience to commit to certain idea, you want your audience to commit to certain way of thinking or even action. So that is call to action, and if you successfully do it, you motivate your audience. And there is Rogerian argument model, where there are 4 basic steps, where you state your adversarial position, highlight your shared values, where you are common. introduce your stance and suggest the action or the middle ground. This is beginning with the U approach. So in management studies, there is something called the U approach, where you talk about the other person's interest first. So state the adversary's position. This is close to the Indian model of discourse. So you have Purva Paksh. So even in India, you see there is a discoursal modality of debate. कि भाई डिबेट को कैसे करेंगे. भारत में भी पूरी एक सिस्टम थी पहले कि आपका एक पूर्व पक्ष रहेगा, फिर उसके बाद आप अपना सिद्धांत रखेंगे, फिर उसके बाद आप उस सिद्धांत के पक्ष में उसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन रखेंगे, उसका उदाहरण रखेंगे, बाद में पांचवें स्टेज पे आप कंक्लूजन पे आएंगे, निर्णय. सो इट इज अ पेंटालेटरल मोड ऑफ थिंकिंग. पेंटालेटरल मानी 5 स्टेज वाला पेंटालेटरल मोड ऑफ थिंकिंग. This is similar to that. You begin with a Purva Paksh, your opponent's view. Then highlight the shared values where you bring in the you attitude. Introduce your stance, what you want to say, and then an action for a call to action or call to the middle ground. Okay, so this is more about finding the commonality. It is kind of win-win kind of negotiation model. There is Toulmin model of argument. This is very forensic. A lot of times lawyers use this. So first you make a claim. So there is a hypothesis or thesis of the speaker. Then you present the grounds. By grounds, he means data or evidence in support of your claim. Then you establish the correlation between claim and grounds, that is warrant, means that your underlying assumptions or principles suggest what they suggest that your claims stay justified because you have sufficient, and I stress sufficient claim evidence. Again, and on top of that, you would have backing, which is an additional support or reinforcing warrants, and this makes the case more credible and difficult to refute. Then you have qualifier, which is showing the strength or limitation of the claim. So here, you are playing to an extent devil's advocate. That you proposed a data, a proposition, a claim, and you then counter propose it. All right, and just see whether it takes a dip for that, and then rebuttal, and then you counter argue the sanshay, the doubt, exceptions, and counter arguments used addressing potential objections or alternative viewpoints. So this is very similar to the Mimamsakas in Indian tradition when they used to debate, Purva Mimamsakas and Uttar Mimamsakas. So their argument mode, if you read the Upanishads and Adi Shankaracharya's commentary, what he calls Gaudapadiya Tika, that is teacher Gaudapad presented the commentary and then he explains Adi Shankaracharya. So Adi Shankaracharya posits evidence, qualifier, rebuttal in a certain sequence of debate. So this is another mode of persuasive speech that he engages with. Remember that Shankaracharya was a great speaker or debater, not to say the least of it. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A lot of managerial students from management study hierarchy of needs. This is part of the motivation speech, where Abraham Maslow said that in your address, if you address the topics such as physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, esteem, self-esteem, and self-actualization, then a person relates to what you are saying. The person emotionally connects with you. This is one model. If applied to a generalized mass, regardless of their background, training, education, But these are roti kapda makan, like, basic line of argument. They relate with what you are saying, and you make your point uh, made very clearly and simply to them. Okay. With these models, there are some fallacies to take care of. No, you might take up any model of public speech of your liking or of your requirement. However, there are certain fallacies to be taken care of. And what are the fallacies? So in Indian darshan system, they are called hetwabhas. Hetu means objective, abhas means you have presumptions about it. So you feel like there is a motive, but it is not. So hetwabhas. So these are fallacies. I will not go into the Indian darshanas because the list is pretty long, but there are three basic major types. Fallacies are the wrong assumptions we make before making a statement or after listening a statement. We assume certain meanings. So there could be fallacies about arguments, fallacies about language, fallacies about logical reasoning. So let us look at these fallacies one by one in brief. So a straw man fallacy in pseudo argument. Pseudo means false argument. So when you misrepresent the opponent's position to attack the weaker side of it. Let me give you an example. For example, vegetarians say meat is bad, so they want all of us to starve. This argument is the classic example of strawman. They are misrepresenting the opponent's position. Okay, red herring, leading the talks away from the actual point. For example, you are talking about climate change. Look at the potholes and road conditions we have got in our cities. Red herring means you are driving away from the main topic to something else. Ad hominem, attacking the person instead of their argument. Don't listen to him. He is a liar. You are attacking the person. He is a liar. Or don't listen to him. He served his term in jail. Just because he was in jail, so there is stigma by association and he is a liar. So this is an ad hominem argument. Slippery slope, claiming that one step necessarily leads to catastrophe. You allow students to sit with mobile phones in classroom, they will lose attention. Now, this is slippery slope. False dilemma, either or. One American president on television said, either you are with us or against us, as if there is no third choice. False dilemma. You show only two options, as if there is no third option in the world. And I did not mention who I meant. Fallacy of language, double speak. Shakespeare's Othello is a play where it is full of equivocation, saying something that has two different meaning. For example, only man is rational. Now, man here is a generic term. Only man is rational. Man as animal. Man as species. Next sentence. Woman is not a man. Now you make a gender out of species. A man. Woman is not a man. Third statement. Therefore, woman is not rational. This is an example of equivocation because you are double playing with the meaning of man. Once as a species, second time as a gender. Then there is amphiboly, ambiguity from poor grammar and structure. For example, visiting lectures can be boring. Now look at this statement. This is an amphiboly, problem in grammar or structure. Visiting lecture can be boring, means you go to the class and it is boring. Or scenario number 2, the visiting faculty who come to the class tend to be boring. So it means both simultaneously. Then you have a loaded question, a question that traps you. For example, so uh, uh, tell us when did you cheat your taxes? You know, this question leaves no other option. When did you cheat with your taxes? Loaded questions. So they are meant to trap you. Using slanted language where the words tend to bias the audience emotionally. Then there are weasel words, which are vague terms to say, but they mean nothing actually. You know. So again, there are some political leaders who say, "Well, I met the president of this country. He's a great man. He's fantastic. We are great friends." Now these are weasel words. Vague terms mean nothing. You know. You see a lot of these happening on television these days. So these are examples in front of us. Fallacy of reasoning, post hoc or false causes, begging the question, circular reasoning. The book is true. Why? Because the book says it is written by the God. That is why it is true. This is circular reasoning. You know, so tomato ketchup is fresh. Why? Because there is a picture of fresh tomatoes on the front. Circular reasoning. Bandwagon fallacy, it is true because many people say it. This is called appeal to popularity. ST generalization, I met an engineer, he was rude, so all engineers are rude. Jumping to sweeping conclusions. Appeal to authority, so you treat somebody as an authority and say that it is truth. Well, Dr. Narayan said that allopathy takes care of all the problems, so it must be true. Just because somebody said so or something said this, it is true. So you appeal to authority as a camouflage to to argue. You don't provide sufficient evidence. You don't have the data, but hide behind the masquerading of the argument. So these are some fallacies that if we avoid is better, and these are some do's and don'ts. So I'll let us just focus on do's, don'ts will automatically drop. So when you are in your public event, try first to be relaxed, smile, and be cheerful. There is this TED Talk speaker, Amy Cuddy. She says, "Fake it till you make it." So if you have power positions like wide open arms gesture, chin up, filling your lungs with air, torso erect, looking straight into the audience, or akimbo means placing your palms on your waist. These are power positions. If you stand in these power positions for say 4 to 5 minutes, you will start feeling positive and confident, and you will be feeling that there is enough vitality and vigor to face your audience. So relax, smile, and be cheerful. And to add Amy Cuddy's word, fake it till you make it. So know your audience in advance, connect with your audience, acknowledge them. So acknowledging audience is important. Means you are not belittling them, passing judgments on audience's IQ, or saying they are not worthy of your learned speech. No, that's not a good way. You don't rubbish them, you don't dismiss them, on in public. Nor also do you get into their nor also do you feel overwhelmed by their esteemed presence. So try to connect with them at par. Use your body language in your natural way and face your audience. Try to keep your language simple. The idea is that avoid jargons, avoid complex words, because they might lose you after some time, and that there is lot of ideas and content behind what you say, not that you are hiding behind body and flowery language. And have a roadmap of your ideas, key points. This is part of your homework, that I want to begin from here and reach point Z, and keep to time. So give a window to have some time for Q&A. So keeping to time, I would say that people say, कहने को तो बहुत कुछ था लेकिन समय ही कम था. This is a pretty lame argument. You need to know how much time you are going to bide with, and how are you going to highlight your key points. And this is a parting thought. At the end, I would say that of course we do planning, we do preparation, of course there is a practice for great performance, but at the end of the day, what matters is that your speech is as much valuable as it is remembered by the last person. So if you have this mantra with you, a simple idea. I want you today to leave this session with this idea that you are as good a speaker as much you are remembered by your audience. If you can do that, that would be great, fantastic. So that's all, folks, from my side. And we have questions and answers if interested, and we have time if our host says so. Yes, over to you, sir.
Absolutely fantastic, sir. I mean, I really would like to say that this is one of the best sessions, and probably some of my students would be definitely, correlating, because the way you were, some of the examples were common, be it Aristotle, specifically Aristotle. So I smiled on that as well. Be it this ambiguity part of it. Before we conclude, I mean, I will just give 1 minute to the audience. There are certain students on YouTube. If they are posting some questions, we will take them, sir, very quickly. And then I would request Ahuti madam to close this up. Just for a couple of seconds, if we have any question. Right, sir?
Yeah, of course. Let us see if we
Sir,
got. Yeah.
Sir, one question we have. Jenny asks, sir, sometimes we are overexcited. So, tips for how to control anxiety. I'm sorry, how to control anxiety.
Okay. See, I would say sometimes somebody's ideas won't actually help you unless and until you have really gone through it. My first example of public speech was a classic example of anxiety and nervousness. When my legs were shaking, I forgot my entire speech halfway. Although my friends cheered me up, but I still remember what I was not to continue and do thereafter. So it is like inoculation, the process of inoculation. What is it? That we administer the disease in our body so that next time we are resisting it, we are resistant to that. So I would say, in a limited capacity and with full responsibility, that to avoid anxiety, the highway is to embrace it. Only then you are free from the fear of what worst can it do to you.
Absolutely
Don't
right.
worry
Absolutely
about it.
right, sir.
Don't worry about it. If you get cornered, get yourself cornered, enjoy. What else can it happen? Is it going to kill you at the end of the day? No. So have at it.
Absolutely right, sir. This is what I say to my students as well. There are extreme experiences when you go for the first or the second time, or probably the first 5 times you are going for public speaking. Either you are over nervous or you are over excited, over bubbly for to be like the king of the world. But ultimately, you end up coming up with so many experiences, and mutually it's a stage to learn. Sometimes you will learn to control anxiety. Sometimes you will learn to overcome.
Yes, it is natural. I would say it happens to all of us. If you have been through this, let it.
How to sustain interest? One tip.
Okay, how to sustain interest? Know what they want. Know what your audience seriously wants from you.
Absolutely right, sir. So that is all from our question side. If at all, students, you have any question, you can drop down into comment box. Later on, I'll request sir to answer them up. I would request Ahuti ma'am to propose a vote of thanks for this session. It was a fabulous session, ma'am, on grammar of public speaking. Please, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time and providing us, our students, as well as to us, the faculties, very interesting, practical, and even literary examples to illustrate the different nuances of speech, which are different. Sorry, which are different from the written pieces. Definitely, this has become a valuable resource for us, and our students will continue getting benefited from these video resources, the next students and the batches to come. Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution for generating this video resource. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Once again, on behalf of Principal GC Bhavnagar as well as the entire fraternity, I would like to really thank you once again. And in times to come, if you want, you will definitely come up for another
Thank you,
session.
sir. It was
on
great
this
connecting with you all again this time. Thank you,
in
sir.
this nice tone, we'll end up the session. We'll call for a day, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's call it a day. Thank you.